In January of this year, a Chinese research station in East Antarctica went completely dark. No communication, no distress signal, nothing. When rescue teams finally reached the site 3 weeks later, they found the facility abandoned, equipment still running, and something else. Something that made them seal off the entire sector within hours. What they discovered beneath 2 miles of ancient ice wasn't supposed to exist, and what happened when they disturbed it. Well, that's what governments don't want you to know. This is the story of Station Kunlun-5 and the thing they woke up beneath the ice. But before we dive into what really happened there, you need to understand why Antarctica might be hiding the most significant discovery in human history. Antarctica isn't just the coldest place on Earth. It's a frozen time capsule, preserving secrets under ice sheets that are up to 3 miles thick and millions of years old. We've explored less than 1% of what lies beneath that ice. Think about that. An entire continent, larger than Europe, almost completely unknown to us. And now, we're starting to find things down there. Things that challenge everything we thought we knew about our planet's history. If you're fascinated by mysteries like this, real stories that blur the line between science and the unexplained, then you're in the right place. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because we're diving deep into the stories that mainstream media won't touch. Now, let's talk about what the Chinese research team found at Station Kunlun-5. Station Kunlun-5 was established in October of last year as part of China's expanded Antarctic research program. The official mission? Ice core sampling and climate data collection. Standard stuff. But there's always been speculation about what countries are really looking for down there. The 23-person team was led by Dr. Wei Zhang, a geophysicist with 15 years of polar research experience. By all accounts, the first 3 months were routine. That changed on January 8th, during a standard ground-penetrating radar sweep. The radar detected something unusual, 2.3 kilometers below the surface. The signal was too regular, too geometric to be a natural ice formation, Dr. Zhang's initial report described it as a structured anomaly with reflective properties inconsistent with known geological features. Translation: they found something that shouldn't be there. Here's what makes this even more interesting. The anomaly was dome-shaped, approximately 60 meters in diameter, and appeared to be made of metallic material. But Antarctica's bedrock is primarily sedimentary rock. There shouldn't be large metallic structures buried under the ice. The team immediately requested permission to investigate further. Beijing approved within 48 hours, which, if you know anything about bureaucratic processes, is suspiciously fast. Over the next 2 weeks, the team worked around the clock to drill, down to the anomaly. They used thermal drilling equipment, which melts through the ice using heated water. The process is slow, about 30 meters per day under ideal conditions. According to the last official communications from the station, they reached the anomaly on January 22nd, and that's when things started getting weird. The drill team reported unusual resistance as they approached the structure, as if something were pushing back against the drill. Equipment began malfunctioning. Magnetic compasses spun wildly. Electronic devices experienced interference that couldn't be explained by natural electromagnetic phenomena. Dr. Zhang transmitted an encrypted message to Beijing that was partially intercepted by Norwegian monitoring stations. The leaked portion reads, "Structure confirmed artificial origin. Composition unknown. Emitting unidentified signal at 4.7 Hz frequency. Magnetic field strength 200 times background levels. Requesting guidance." The response from Beijing was immediate. "Continue investigation. Maintain communication blackout with non-essential personnel." That's when the team made their biggest mistake. They decided to extract a sample. On January 24th, the drill finally penetrated the dome's outer surface. Initial samples showed the material was unlike anything in our periodic table, a metallic alloy with properties that seemed to shift when exposed to different temperatures. But it was the ice samples taken from around the structure that truly shocked the team. The ice contained organic filaments, thread-like structures that, under microscopic examination, showed characteristics of both plant and animal cells. They were preserved in the ice, dormant, for what carbon dating suggested was between 15 and 20 million years. That's important. 15 million years ago, Antarctica wasn't completely frozen. It had forests, it had ecosystems, but nothing like what they were seeing under those microscopes. These organisms didn't match any known species in Earth's biological record. And then, something happened that changed everything. One of the research assistants, working in the containment lab, dropped a vial containing the organic filaments. The vial shattered. The sample was exposed to the station's atmosphere. Within minutes, the filaments began to react. They started moving, growing, responding to the laboratory lights as if they were photosynthesizing at an accelerated rate. The temperature in the lab spiked by 15 degrees Celsius in less than an hour, even though the heating systems were offline. Dr. Zhang's final transmission, sent at 3:47 a.m. local time on January 25th, was 2 words: containment failed. What happened next is pieced together from emergency beacon data, satellite thermal imaging, and rescue team reports. At approximately 4:15 a.m., all communications from Station Kunlun-5 went dead. Not just radio, everything. Power signatures, heat signatures, even the emergency locator beacons stopped transmitting. Satellite imagery captured a massive thermal bloom at the station's coordinates. Surface ice temperatures jumped from -40 to +30 degrees Celsius in the span of 3 minutes. That kind of energy release shouldn't be possible with the station's equipment. The Chinese government immediately diverted their nearest icebreaker, still 800 kilometers away, and requested emergency assistance from international partners. But they also did something unusual. They declared a 50-kilometer exclusion zone around the station and prohibited any aircraft from flying overhead. Why? What were they trying to keep people from seeing? When the rescue team finally reached the station 3 weeks later, the delay attributed to weather conditions. Though satellite data showed clear skies for most of that period, they found the facility completely evacuated. Personal belongings were left behind. Meals were half-eaten in the cafeteria. But there were no bodies, no blood, no signs of struggle. The 23 members of the research team had simply vanished. The only physical evidence of what happened was in the drill site. The borehole had been sealed with what appeared to be rapidly frozen water mixed with the same organic filaments from the samples. And the metallic dome, according to ground-penetrating radar, was no longer emitting any signals. Whatever had been down there had gone quiet again. Here's where the official story and the leaked information diverged dramatically. The Chinese government's official statement, released on February 18th, claimed the station had been evacuated due to a geological gas release event. They said the team was safely recovered and debriefed at an undisclosed location. No mention of the metallic dome, no mention of the organic samples, no mention of anything unusual at all. But leaked documents paint a very different picture. A classified report, allegedly from the Chinese Antarctic Research Administration, describes the incident as a biological containment failure of unknown origin, and references aggressive organic expansion and anomalous energy signatures. The document recommends permanent sealing of bore site and indefinite suspension of deep ice research in the sector. Even more disturbing, intercepted communications between Beijing and Station Kunlun, 5 inches the hours before the blackout, suggest the team wasn't just studying the structure, they had managed to access its interior. Dr. Zhang's last detailed transmission described a chamber and preservation system still active after millions of years. International researchers who've tried to investigate have been stonewalled. The Chinese government has refused to share any samples, data, or even the names of the research team members. The area remains under military surveillance, and multiple countries have reported their requests to conduct their own research in the region have been denied. So what really happened at Station Kunlun-5? Let's consider the possibilities, because this is where it gets truly unsettling. If the metallic dome was artificial, who built it? If it's been under the ice for 15 million years, that predates not just human civilization, but the entire human species. We didn't even exist yet. Some researchers suggest it could be evidence of an ancient, advanced civilization that we have no record of. Others point to the organic samples and suggest something even more radical, that Antarctica might have been a repository or containment facility for biological materials that predate known Earth biology. And then there's the most disturbing theory, that whatever was in that dome wasn't dead, it was dormant, waiting. The fact that the filaments reacted to exposure, that they grew and generated heat, suggests they were some form of extremophile organism capable of surviving frozen for millions of years. We've found bacteria like this before, but never anything this complex, and never anything that could generate that much energy. What if the dome wasn't a monument or a structure? What if it was a containment vessel? And what if the research team didn't just wake something up? They let it out. The complete disappearance of 23 experienced researchers, the massive energy release, the immediate military response, and information blackout. None of it adds up to a simple gas leak. Antarctica covers 5.5 million square miles. We've barely scratched the surface of what's beneath that ice. And if there's one structure like the one at Kunlun-5, how many others might be down there, buried under miles of ice, waiting to be discovered? Or waiting to wake up? The truth is, we may never know exactly what happened at Station Kunlun-5, but the fact that governments are keeping it hidden tells us everything we need to know about how seriously they're taking it. This isn't over. Whatever was discovered beneath that Antarctic ice has changed something fundamental about how certain people in power view our planet's history, and you can bet they're looking for more. What do you think is really down there? Ancient civilization? Alien artifacts? Something else entirely? Leave your theories in the comments below. If you want more stories like this, real mysteries backed by actual evidence and leaked documents, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're tracking developments on this story and several others that mainstream media won't touch. Thanks for watching. And remember, just because something is hidden doesn't mean it's not real.